Hey, what's up, my friend? Welcome to your level one astrology workshop. In this workshop, we're going to be going over the houses and the planets. Okay, now I've been spending a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of research on how to bring this information to you so it's the most digestible, right? So basically, I went back to remembering how I originally learned astrology. And so, what I want you to do, because I want to make this as practical as possible, I have a very unique way of approaching everything I do, but I like to think that I have a very um, no nonsense, real, like down to earth approach to understanding this kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going here in the introduction, I'm going to show you what I want you to do as you're going through this workshop. And as we go through it, basically, the best way to understand astrology is to understand you, right? When you start to study the planets and the houses and the aspects and all the different variations and levels and depths of how astrology goes, it's really important to use yourself as the foundation, as a reference, right? That's how I learned it, and that's how I'm going to teach you how to learn it. So we are going to go into your own birth chart. I'm going to show you a free way to do that now. Now, the software that I use costs money. Astro Gold, you're welcome to download that if you want. The app for the phone is about 40 bucks, and the app for a computer is right around $300. So if you don't have the money for that, that's okay. That's no problem. All right. And this is how it's going to go. All right. We're going to have a level one, which is going over the houses and the planets. Number two, or the second level or intermediary of the workshops, is going to be about aspects and orbs. Now, this is going to get a little bit more into channeling, a little bit understanding more about the energetics of how you feel. I want you to relate these energies to how you have experienced them in your life. Okay. And when you start to make that correlation, it makes the energies come alive. And this is how you can start to learn how to read energy. So, really, astrology, the different planets, the different houses, these are all different energies and archetypes within our consciousness that make up who we are. Okay. When we are born with a blueprint that the stars give us that will show us what we're going to experience in this lifetime, what challenges we're going to have, what strengths we will have, and whereabouts, we're going to have to process these things along the way. Level three is going to a different level. This is where I want to create more of a business venture for you. Okay. My plan is I like to approach astrology in a way like coaching. Okay. When you look at someone's chart, you can see what their tendencies are. And then when you're communicating with them and you know yourself through your own chart, you're able to pick up on the energies that they have. And by the end of the third workshop, you will have the opportunity to become a certified coach through Spiritual Bodybuilder. All right. And with that, we will be able to, there's going to be tiers to this, okay? Level three is going to be coming out. It's to be determined. I'm looking at October or November of this year of 2020. And with the level three, it's going to be interactive, okay? So you need to learn the foundation. You need to learn the fundamentals first. Then in level three, we will be doing an 8-week weekly group Zoom sessions together. And when we go on these Zoom sessions, we'll be discussing, like, so you've learned the planets, you learn the aspects, and then I'm going to want you to go over your birth chart. The learning point here is going to be your birth chart. And even in the third workshop, in the third level, we are going to talk about the progress chart and different kinds of aspects and even synastry charts and how to bring all that stuff together so that by the time we are done, you are going to know how to coach someone through the process of astrology. Now, it's also going to, I'm blending this in with the opportunity community. And so if you want to join my team in the community that I'm building, we have infinite possibilities for you. We are growing so fast and so big, and I'm so excited to work with you. So you will be able to jump into this as little or as much as you want. The first two levels are going to be sort of like at your own pace. Okay, there's gonna be videos like this where I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll be going through, and I'll be explaining these things that are going on. And then in level 3, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we're going to start to learn how to make it a business and how to actually start making money and collaborate and affiliate, right? Start making money in different ways. If you really want to run with me and you really want to change the world, if you really have a vision and a desire to help people, to heal people, to show people a better way, then let's do this together, baby. Okay? All right, so step number 1. Here's what you're going to do. We are going to go to astro-charts.com. This website is the website that I prefer. It's easy, it's simple, and it's a kind of a no-brainer. All right. So here we're going to go in and we're going to type in our name. All right. Where you're born. Of course, you need to know your city, date, time, and location of birth. That's a must if you want to know, your accurate birth chart. All right. I was born in Natick, Massachusetts. Comes right up. Date of birth is 01. Yep, January 1st, baby. 1979. Okay. What time? I was born at 11:56, which numerologically that's 11:11, by the way. Boom. AM. Okay. Create chart. Now, when we create chart, it's going to pull up the Placidius chart. We don't want to use a Placidius. Okay. I use equal. Let's see. Houses. Show housing system. Placidius is default. We're going to go to equal house. Okay. So, very, very slight difference, but this will show you a basic outline of your chart. Okay. Now, it also is going to show all your planets, all the degrees in minutes. The little R right here means retrograde. Okay. So this is a basic fundamental layout spread of the planets. Now it goes down the aspects, and here you see we have orbs 2, 1, 4, 6, 7, 8, all those. Okay. You can also go into the minor aspects too. All right, which we're going to get into the aspects and the orbs in level 2. Okay, I'll explain all that later. All right, but you have all that information here. Okay, and then we have the chart patterns here as well too, which is kind of cool. So as you can see, I have 2 yods in my chart, and I'm big on yods, and we're going to get into that too when we get into aspects. But these patterns in our birth chart represent fundamental aspects of our personality and things we're going to go through and face throughout our lifetime. Okay, so this is my chart here, and that is what I want you to do. Okay, so that is step number 1 for the introduction. So once you have that done, now you have, this is like your study material. Okay, this is going to be your study material for every single course, basically for the rest of the entire time that you're doing your process. Okay, I believe that studying your own consciousness is best because you know you. Not to mention that you get to learn more about yourself while you're going through the process, right? It just makes sense. Astrology level 1. Basics. Okay. What are houses? So, astrologers use a 12-house system where the first house is the area of the sky just below the eastern horizon. The houses are numbered counterclockwise, right here. The divided line between that one house to another is called the house cusp. So, for example, when the sun moves from the 10th to the 9th around 12 noon, it is crossing the 10th house cusp. Okay. So basically, this is the direction that the sun moves. This is just very, very fundamental. This is the direction that the sun goes counterclockwise. Okay. The 12 houses keywords. This is a brief synopsis of what the 12 houses represent. First house, and this shows how you appear to others, your mask, your persona, a way of negotiating the world. This is essentially your ego. Okay. Now, you'll hear other astrologers say that your sun is your ego. I believe your sun is your spirit. Your sun is your spirit. Your ascendant, or your first house, which is the same thing, is your ego, how you bring yourself out in the world and how other people see you. And then, of course, your moon sign is your emotional state. But the second house is what you own, your property, your money, your personal assets, your values, and your ethics. There's also your self-worth, your self-confidence, and the money you make from the work that you do. Okay. Third house, short journeys like in and around town, or like to the next town over, or maybe even like, to the next state over, all right, a couple 100 miles at that. Siblings, your brothers and sisters, communication, how we express ourselves, also education, okay, how we learn, okay. Fourth house represents the home, the mother, the father. So it says here the mother, it's the modern mother and the traditional father. Um, this this is where it can get a little confusing, because the 10th house is also the father. All right, it's the modern father. So for all intents and purposes, let's say the fourth house is the mother or mothering. Okay, domestic life, the home and family, and your childhood, where you grew up, or how your childhood is going to look, right? Okay, so the fifth house represents children or your inner child, gambling, romance, fun, being flirtatious, exciting, peppy, charismatic, creativity, personal expression, games and sports, athleticism as well. Okay, the sixth house represents work. Now, work as far as like a day to day job, all right, practical effort, illness, not just illness, but also health. Okay, health and wellness, service, desire to fix things. This is where like your day-to-day practical application of life in itself. Okay, so this is where your nutrition comes into play. This is where your your sleep cycle, your day-to-day patterns of your life sit in. Okay, very, very important. Seventh house represents partnerships and friendships. Now, these are significant partnerships and friendships, and relationships, significant, very significant relationships. These can also be hidden enemies as well. Okay, the seventh house represents very significant people in your life. Okay, partnerships of all kind that are significant, business partnerships, intimate relationships, even relationships with your children. Okay, and remember that this is also where, like that whole term where keep your friends close but your enemies closer, very important here. Open enemies, these are the people that can really, and depending on what planet you have in this sign, will, especially in the seventh house, will make a big determination as to what your life looks like. Okay. Eighth house, money. This is other people's money. Where the second house is the money you make from when you earn. Eighth house is the money from other people, like investments, things like that. Okay. Business, sharing, death of friends or oneself. This is like also the intuitive house, like the subconscious, the intuitive empathy, the ability to feel and read energy. Okay, business, finances, other people's money, shared resources, mysticism, the occult. This is also the house of sexuality. Okay, do this. Okay, here we go. So ninth house. Ninth house is travel. All right, the broader view of things, the big picture. Philosophy, politics, long journeys, broad perception. This is belief systems as well. Okay, this is also on the esoteric realm. This is like journeying, like if you do like astral travel or lucid dreaming or things like that. Okay, there's many dimensions that go to the ninth house. Well, all these houses, but some of these houses stick out particularly in some different ways. Okay, the 10th house represents career, your life purpose, really your role in life, standing in the community, who you are in respect to who's around you. Okay, this is where you shine, or this is where you fall. 11th house, organizations like social media, right? Or corporations, clubs, social activities, friends, hopes, wishes, and aspirations. This is where we have the vision of influencing the world. Okay. This is whatever house planet you have in this house will represent how you interact with the world at large. The 12th house, this is the psychic house, okay? This is very spiritual, represents sacrifice, hidden enemies, okay? Self-undoing, call to more selfless way of life. This is the unconscious mind. So where the 8th house is intuitive empathy, the 12th house represents literal psychic abilities like claircognizance, clairaudience, all these different extrasensory perceptions that you may have. A lot of very talented psychics have heavy placements in the 12th house. Okay, when you hear things, when you see things, and then the 8th house represents when you feel things. Okay, so the zodiac sign rulership. All right, the sun is rules Leo, moon rules Cancer, the 4th house. Okay, the sun rules Leo, Leo rules the 5th house. Moon rules Cancer, the 4th house. Gemini, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Okay, and Venus rules Taurus and Libra, which is Taurus represents the 2nd house, Libra represents the 7th house. Mars rules Aries and secondarily rules Scorpio. Jupiter primarily rules Sagittarius, secondarily rules Pisces. Saturn primarily rules Capricorn and secondarily rules Aquarius. Uranus primarily rules Aquarius. Neptune rules Pisces, and Pluto rules Scorpio. Now, the reason why a few of these planets rule two signs is because we didn't discover some of these planets until just a few decades ago. Okay, so there's the ancient ruler and the modern ruler. So these energies intertwine a little bit. And we're going to start to see this and understand this once we get into aspects and getting deeper into the understanding of the houses and how the aspects play a roles in the planets in these positions. Okay. Let's see. So with the houses, okay, we have 3 different types. Okay, we have the angular, the succedent, and the cadent. Now, these are synonymous with cardinal. Cardinal is angular. Fixed is succedent. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. And mutable is cadent. Okay, so the cardinal or angular houses are the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th. The fixed or succedent houses are 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th. The cadent or mutable houses are 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th. And we're going to get much more into detail about those energies here coming up. All right, so the angles. So here we break the astrological wheel into 4 parts. Okay, now we're looking at, this is where the ascendant and descendant comes into play. The ascendant is your identity. Okay, it's who you are. It's how you bring yourself out into the world. The descendant represents how you are or how other people come into your life, or the types of people that you attract. Okay, now the 1st house cusp, of course, is the ascendant. The 4th house cusp and the 10th house cusp is the IC and the MC. The imum coeli and the medium coeli. All right. Nobody even knows what all that stuff is, but I figured I'd throw it just so that you would know specifically what it means. Okay. These are very important because these represent how you'll be interacting with life and with people. Okay. The MC represents sort of your pull in this direction in life, and the IC represents how you're going to grow up, right? It's sort of like your childhood. So it's basically from the bottom, it's the beginning of your life to the end of your life, going from down to up. Okay. Left is how you are, to right, how other people are, or how other people come into you. Okay. So now we have the elements. All right. So here we have, of course, we start with Aries over here, which is cardinal fire. All right. We have fire, earth, air, and water. So it starts right here with fire, and as it goes around, it goes to fixed earth, then mutable air, then cardinal water, then fixed fire, then mutable earth, then cardinal air, then fixed water, then mutable fire. Forward on to cardinal earth, then fixed air, then mutable water. Okay, why is this important? This is the cycle in which we learn things. Okay, so when we have a learned lesson come into our life, okay, wherever your ascendant is at, and this is where you need to look at your chart, okay? Wherever your ascendant is at, you need to see where you start processing information or processing energy, okay? So say you're a Taurus ascendant, all right? You start with a fixed earth. So you start a very stubborn, very, this is me, okay? This is how I am, this is what I do. And then when you learn a lesson, something comes in and you immediately have a reaction or a response, right? And your response is very fixed. It's very, nope, not going to move. Then as you process the energy, it's going to move to a mutable feeling. Like, oh, well, maybe this person meant this, or maybe this happened, or I don't know. Okay, well, how about, this might change. And then it goes to cardinal. You want to start something new. Okay, maybe I was wrong. This is going to change. This is how we got to do it. Okay. We can get stuck in these, in certain areas of these. And when you go to look at your own chart, look to see where, when things come into your life, how they affect you, right? Whenever you have something going on, and move through that, the best you can. So this is just like, an outline of seeing, okay, cardinal, fire, earth, air, water, Aries, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer. The fixed signs are Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Mutable, Sagittarius, Virgo, Gemini, and Pisces. So right now, while you're looking at this, look at your own chart and see if you have an abnormally large amount of one of these as opposed to the other. If you do, you want to pay more attention to that type of element, because that's going to be a big part of your personality. If you're like me, for example, okay, I have a lot of cardinal energy. So I'm like, go, go, go. I like to start shit. I like to make shit happen. I like to keep moving forward, right? And I have a hard time slowing down and processing through everything. So I really have to put a lot of effort into following through to the rest of those pieces, if you will, okay? So I bring people into my life that help me with the more fixed and mutable aspects of my life, okay? Now let's look into fire. Fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire signs respond to energy very quickly. They favor action. They're ready to go. They take a risk. They start a business. They go on a trip. They are confident, idealistic, intense, and approach life with zest and enthusiasm. Here is energy to conquer, lead, and travel physically and mentally. Aries must act. Leo must lead grandly. And Sagittarius explores unknown places and ideas. Positive keywords: extroverted, energetic, enthusiastic, inspirational, visionary, high-spirited, simple and direct, physically active, dramatic, courageous, warm, negative keywords. Overly active to the point of burnout. Restless, impatient, selfish, insensitive, willful, hasty, lacking in perspective, thoughtless, impulsive, reckless, extravagant, and wild. I don't really know if wild's a good or bad, but you get it, right? It's very in your face. Let's get it. Now, say if you have like fire signs in the bottom half of your chart, which is more introvert, it's more internal, or if you have planets in there that are retrograde, which make it internal, okay, then that could be that you feel these energies internally, right? So this is where you really have to tune in to yourself. So please make sure that you're looking at your chart while we are going through this, so that you can really, and like, pause it and stop whenever you need to really break down, especially if something hits you like, oh my God, that makes sense. Okay. Because this is really important to lay this foundation with like a solid understanding of what's going on inside your own consciousness. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Earth signs are more cautious in their approach. They are more practical, realistic, and they need solid footing before going forward. Taurus will dig the heels in and really ponder things. Virgo will, of course, analyze. Capricorn will climb, but will do it with care. First, need a vision, a plan, and organized structure before starting the ascent. Earth signs are dependable, thorough, and solid. Earth signs seek to engage the physical world and master it through efficient organization. Earth signs seek economic security, respect, and prestige, and they work hard for it. The positive keywords of Earth signs are practical, efficient, organized, realistic, patient, self-disciplined, hardworking, productive, enduring, persistent, dependable, stable, and some good common sense. Now, some negative keywords are they're slow, stodgy, lacking in vision, unimaginative, pretty petty, excessively conventional, narrow-minded, stubborn, resistant to change, hoarding, and ultra-conservative. I'd say the resistant to change is the biggest thing that I see with Earth signs. But we are steadfast. Okay, I'm a Capricorn, so I am an Earth sign. All right, and whatever planet you have in Earth, pay attention to this area right here. Okay, so now we move on to air. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Air signs approach energy mentally. They are thinkers. They are social, always ready for a new relationship or friendship. They love earning, but bore easily. Gemini has great intellectual curiosity, but too many personalities. Libra is partnership driven, but not in an emotional way. Aquarius is popular with friends and is unstoppable when it has a cause to champion. Air signs are into ideas and people. They are communicative. They must share information, interactive with others, and influence society. Some positive keywords of these guys are articulate, objective, mentally clear, detached, capable of forethought, understanding, socially adept and adaptable, cooperative, relational, and some negative keywords are unemotional, lacking in sympathy, impractical, disassociation from the body and the physical world, over-adaptive, abstracted, glib and facile, and hyperactive. So basically, you see these negative traits when one of these signs is not in balance, right? But you see the positive signs when we're in flow. Got to get in that flow state, baby. Now, water signs. Water signs respond to energy almost unconsciously. They are deeply emotional. Cancer is motivated to nurture and be nurtured. Scorpio has intense vision, never swaying, looking straight ahead with laser-like focus. Pisces is the trickiest to describe. Pisces energy is chameleon-like, absorbing its surroundings. That's so true. Positive keywords: deeply emotional, sympathetic, empathetic, nurturing, calm and peaceful, sensitive, compassionate, imaginative, intuitive, psychically aware. And some negative keywords are emotionally insecure and unstable, shy, timid, lacking in confidence, oversensitive, easily influenced and manipulated, withdrawn, uncommunicative, vindictive and vengeful. Oh yeah. Takes everything personally, moody and depressed. The more water you have in your chart, the more likely you are to have be in tune with your intuitive empathy and your psychic capacity, but the more also you are going to be swayed by the energetic interactions of the world around you. Okay, now we move on to qualities. Qualities are the different, the cardinal, fixed, and mutable aspects. Okay, so we have, they're also called modes or modalities. Okay, it indicates how people respond to stimuli and especially how they act under tension. They indicate how the signs express their element, meaning the mode of behavior they use to express the elements needed. There are three qualities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. They're also called quadruplicities because there are 4 signs per group, but I don't expect you to remember the quadruplicities. Cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are the most assertive, the most interested in initiating change. Now, right now, we are in August, and we are in a massive amount of cardinal energy. Okay, August 2020. They easily begin things and respond well to new ideas. They are self-starters. Crisis motivates them. So, especially with the triple conjunction there in Capricorn, a lot of crisis And so a lot of Capricorns are and other cardinal signs are leading the way right now in making things happen. They achieve control by remaining one step ahead of everyone else. Aries seeks leadership and control in general. Cancer controls emotions, home, and family. Libra tries to control partnerships. Capricorn controls, uses, and exploits the material environment. For cardinal signs, things are always happening. This is usually because they are doing the starting. The 4 cardinal signs are the first month of each season. So this all coordinates with the seasons, 12 months, 12 houses, and 4 seasons, okay, 4 different quadrants, all right? So with each season, there's an energy that goes with that season. All right, fixed signs. Fixed signs are the most stable and self-contained. Their mode of activity is sort of passive, yet determined, unwavering, and even stubborn. Their strength is their consistency and loyalty. They follow things through to the end, managing and sustaining what has been started by the cardinal signs. They may go to denial in times of change. That's a tough one, especially right now. They are very resistant to change, needing to take time to prep themselves. They tend to be late. Taurus is just slow. Scorpio uses tardiness as a subtle power struggle. Leo enjoys making an entrance. Better late than never, right? Aquarius wants things on their own terms. Late, but once there, they stay forever. The 4 fixed signs are at the middle of each season. Okay? Mutable signs. All right? Let's see. Mutable signs are the most unstable and most open to influence by the environment. Their mode of activity is to make the transition from the old to the new, opening the way for the cardinal signs to begin a new cycle. They're infinitely flexible and tolerant. They find it naturally easy to let go, whereas cardinal signs begin new things and fixed signs sustain things. Mutable energy loosens structures and adapts it to new and changing conditions. With this territory comes mental worry. Mutable signs have many things going on in their heads rather than in tangible form. Many react to making lists. Some suffer from negative mental tension involving fear, paranoia, and panic attacks. In anticipating negative outcomes, they really suffer during the worry process, but their high adaptability always sees them through. Gemini is changeable in its ideas. Virgo is dominated by its environment. Sagittarius has a continually changing view of life's possibilities. Pisces adapts itself superficially to its environment, like a chameleon, and reflects it like a mirror. Sometimes they compromise so much that they sacrifice their own interests. The 4 mutable signs are at the final month of each season. Between elements, qualities, and signs, there is only one combination of each, making each zodiac sign unique. For example, there's only one cardinal fire sign, one cardinal earth sign, one cardinal air sign, etc. You can understand the nature of each sign by examining these energetic combinations. Now remember, this is just one sign of many signs and houses in your chart. This is one aspect of your consciousness. So just because you're a Pisces doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a chameleon. Okay, you might have chameleon-like traits in your personality, but we have to identify where those traits are and the other parts of your consciousness and let them all work together. The problem is usually when we're not aware of ourselves that we have all these different aspects and traits subconsciously and consciously in our minds, and we don't understand them. So we stereotype ourselves almost to these things that we're consciously aware of, and we usually make bad decisions or we get caught up in these unconscious patterns that end up causing wreak havoc in our lives. And so learning this, at least for me, was a way to, create smooth inner peace and quality decision-making processes and ultimately success and quality of life. Okay? Polarities. Okay, so the 2 polarities are sometimes referred to as male, female, or positive and negative. Modern astrologers prefer to call them yin and yang. This is the earliest form of classification referring to duality. 6 of the zodiac signs, fire and air signs, are yang energy, and 6 earth and water signs are yin energy. In general, signs of the same polarity can understand each other's personalities, whereas signs from the opposing polarities have a difficult time seeing eye to eye. Air feeds fire and empowers it. Earth needs water for life. Here are keywords to help describe the 2 opposing energies. Okay, so yang is also masculine, and yang also represents the right side of the physical body. Yin is feminine. Yin represents the left side of the physical body. Yang is direct, outgoing, extroverted, giving, active, male male in the sense of um, like masculine energy, not necessarily like a man, but masculine energy. Okay, positive, indirect. Okay, yin is passive or reactive. It's introverted, withdrawn. It's receptive, and it's about receiving. Okay, it's also reactive when we're unconscious. Traditionally, it's a female or the feminine energy, and it's negative traditionally as opposed to positive. Okay, now negative is not synonymous with bad, and positive is not synonymous with good. It's more like a battery. You have a positive end and a negative end. It's just a charge. It's an energetic vibration. Okay. So here we see all the signs, elements, qualities, and polarities. So we have an equal distribution of positive and negative, right? So look in your chart to see how much yang energy and how much yin energy you have in there. All right, you can pause this and check that out if you want. So you have Aries, which is cardinal fire, which is yang. Taurus, which is fixed earth, yin. Gemini, which is mutable air, yang. Cancer, cardinal water, yin. Leo is fixed fire, yang. Virgo, mutable earth, yin. Libra, cardinal air, yang. Scorpio, fixed water, yin. Sagittarius, mutable fire, is yang. Capricorn is cardinal earth, which is yin. Aquarius is fixed air, which is yang. And Pisces is mutable water, which is yin. Okay, so now we're going to go into the houses, all right? The first house is the house of self. This is your ego. This is your identity. This includes self-awareness, the physical body, all right? Personality, appearance, personal views on life, self-identity, self-image, early environment and beginnings, how we initiate, how we're impulsive. Any planets in this house will greatly influence your personality and how others perceive you, okay? So whatever planets, once we get more into the planets, you want to mix the energy of the planet with the energy of the house. And really, this is really how the world sees you, okay? The first house is your identity. So when people receive your energy, they're receiving it from your ascendant or your first house, all right? The second house refers to your own money and possessions, what you value, your hidden talents, sense of self-worth and self-esteem, like how you value yourself, instead of describing your personality as in the first house, okay? So this takes your personality and adds the value to it. Possessions include anything a person owns, except the house, which is ruled by the fourth house, okay? But anything you own, cars, furniture, clothing, movable property, investments, and securities, etc. The second house specifies how you gain and spend your own money, as opposed to others' money in the eighth house. Your attitude towards wealth and material possessions and your potential for accumulating it or them, okay? This is really all about your wealth and abundance, and it's a representative of how you feel about yourself, okay? The third house is that of communication, which by extension includes one's immediate environment, siblings, neighbors, short journeys, and all forms of transportation, your car, the bus, the train, plane. The third house also includes intellect, the lower mind, like details, small bits of information, as opposed to higher mind in the ninth. This is like going to school, right? Going to college or going to high school. Thinking patterns and early education. Communication includes messages, deliveries, gossip, phone calls, visits, reading and writing. Internal communications, computers, phones. So this is all like literally everything that has to do with communication. Okay. And I would also add in there community. Okay. With your neighborhood and your neighbors, this is all about your relationship with your community and everything that goes within that. Fourth house. The fourth house refers to the home and everything associated with it, both the childhood home and the current home. Family, land, personal foundations, inner emotional security. Your roots, this is where you come from, where you grow up. Astrologers are divided over whether this house is associated with one, mother's, or father. What is clear is that the person's upbringing is associated with this house. On a deeper level, the fourth house is the base of consciousness or the center of our concrete existence. See how the cusp of the fourth house is the IC, the lowest point in the chart, representative of things below the surface of the earth. Due to that, the fourth house was believed to rule the conditions at the end of life and graves. as the root or base of your real self, even the root chakra, the fourth house rules where you go when you die, but also where you came from. For those who believe in reincarnation, the fourth house would give you clues to the karmic lessons for this lifetime. It shows what karmic baggage you brought with you into this life. Even if you don't believe in reincarnation, you're likely to be surprised by what you find in your fourth house, for it may move your soul. Any planets in the fourth house affect your home life, your emotions, your subconscious, and possibly your relationship with your parents. The fourth house, the fourth, eighth, and 12th house really have a lot to do with past life stuff, with psychic capacity and abilities, where you come from. Okay, so this can go very, very deep. And then we go into aspects. Aspects too have something to do with past lives and reincarnation and whatnot. Okay, so the fifth house refers to children, creativity, the pursuit of pleasure, like flirting and, having fun, being rambunctious, playful. This includes personal interests, love affairs, sports, hobbies, speculation, risk-taking, teaching, drama, creative self-expression, love given, and gambling. The fifth house is all about you being yourself and enjoying it. Romance, dating, love affairs, and sexual relationships are ruled by the fifth house, yet marriage is assigned to the seventh house. Why? Because until very recently, marriage was not entered into for pleasure, for love, nor for personal fulfillment. Marriage was hardly even entered into by choice, but rather for the purpose of raising kids to preserve the value of a particular culture or religion. And these marriages were most often arranged according to class and financial status, a partnership benefiting the seventh house. Nowadays, it's common to marry for love. To avoid confusion, remember, affairs of the heart are in the fifth house, but cooperative partnerships are in the domain of the seventh house. Okay? Now, with all the changes happening in the world, right? And I look at generations from the planet of Pluto. Okay, if we look back to the Pluto in Libra generation, which is me. Okay, it's from about 1975 to 1984 or 5. Okay, that generation is generationally changing how relationships function. Okay, we're doing it very different. We're sick of the way our parents did it, right? Pluto and Scorpio generation, 85 to about 92. That is a generation that is revolutionizing sex and sexuality. And we're seeing it all over the place, right? Gender identity, sexual orientation, being more open about sex and sexuality, okay, become more free and open. And then we have the Pluto in Sagittarius generation, which is now like the teenagers. And they're about expanding belief systems and consciousness and getting out there and understanding things differently. This is where we're going, as you can see, with this world changing at such a deep fundamental degree. The belief systems are shifting, and these are the people that are going to be the ones that take over after us, that create the new belief structures in this world. And then, of course, now we have Pluto in Capricorn, which is literally changing the structure of the world. The structures, like the infrastructure of every industry that we have in this world, is going to be influenced by the generation from 2008 till now. Okay. So the sixth house refers to daily work, service, diet, health, and physical sickness. I would say physical fitness too, but also physical sickness is very real, especially if you have Chiron in the sixth house. You need to watch out for that. Physical ability to work, employees. This includes volunteer labor, civil service work, caretaking, and mundane daily tasks. The sixth house really involves the quality of your work, the quality of the jobs you perform, as opposed to an actual career. Career is represented by the 10th house, like your life purpose. This is just job. Daily mundane tasks include personal hygiene and our method of responding to everyday crises. So how we're responding. So if you want to see how you're responding to the crisis going on right now in the world, look to see where your 10th house is at, and look to see what planet is there. And when you get down to the planets, you can cross-reference the energy of the planet with the energy of the house, and that'll make more sense for you. The 7th house is sometimes referred to as a house of marriage, but it encompasses all one-to-one relationships, marriage, business, partnerships, contracts, cooperative relationships, and also divorce, separation, quarrels, open enemies, and lawsuits. The difference between the love affairs of the 5th house and the love relationships of the 7th house is that 7th house refers to more permanently binding relationships, whereas the fifth house refers to affairs that may be temporary. When the fifth house affairs progress into a serious relationship, we can say that the relationship has moved into the seventh house. Seventh house relationships are about cooperation and sharing, and they generally serve some functional purpose in the larger social communities, i.e. marriage. This is different from a fifth house love affair whose only qualification is butterflies in the stomach. Or getting that like, oh my God, does she like me? Does he like me? The seventh house includes the way you relate to those closest to you. Planets in this house will influence your manner of relating. They also give clues to issues that arise in your relationships. Okay. What it doesn't say, I mean, it's open enemies and lawsuits. So look at what kind of energies you have in your seventh house, because the seventh house is going to be significant people in your life. It's going to be like your ride or die crew, okay? And sometimes that ride or die crew turns it back, and usually betrayal ends up happening in this house at the deepest degree. But sometimes we need betrayal, what I call a tower moment, in order to grow and evolve into the next person we're going to be. And you can see that through different energies like Pluto in the seventh house. You're definitely going to experience some kind of betrayal. Chiron in the seventh house, more like heartbreak, but probably betrayal too, okay? Eighth house. Simply put, the eighth house is the polar opposite of the second house. Whereas the second ruler rules your own individual possessions, the eighth house rules what a relationship owns, like joint finances. The eighth house is one of the most misunderstood houses. This is probably because the thing that represented by the eighth house seems to have nothing in common with each other. They seem to be negative. This house governs death, regeneration, taxes, inheritances, wills and legacies, sex, the actual act of sex and your sexuality, latent occult abilities, i.e. psychic and intuitive, empathy abilities. Let's see, joint resources, your partner's money and possessions, spouse's money, bankruptcy, losses, personal sacrifices, alimony, clairvoyance, credits, loans, loans from other people's money. On a positive note, this house is about transformation and healing, but transformation and healing requires some type of death, loss, or injury first. This house rules those processes and things by which we transform and become more powerful. Yes, this includes the act of sex. Sex is probably the single most powerful transformative agent in this world. It is our Kundalini energy. It is the orgasm. It is that expression of energy that has the power to transform us. This is a very, very powerful house. And so definitely pay attention to this house to see how you will interact at this sort of subconscious or energetic, it's kind of like a spooky level, okay? The ninth house refers to philosophy, religion, law, learning, higher education, as opposed to early education by the third house. Ethics, morals, long journeys, travel, foreign countries and interests, spiritual urges, dreams, visions, higher mind, ideas, understanding and wisdom, books, publishing, ceremonies, and rituals. This is the house of big thought and big ideas, marketing and promotion. Okay, ninth house understanding is more complex than third house knowledge. The act of knowing belongs to the third house because it implies simply the direct contact of a person with something in his environment. Understanding involves the synthesis of known data, while the third house refers to an individual's need to understand his close and personal environment. The ninth house is an area in which one seeks to discover the significance of larger fields of social existence, which one may not experience directly, but which his mind may explore through the use of analogy, generalization, and abstraction. The third and ninth house symbolize the two polarities of the human mind, the concrete and the abstract. In summary, the ninth house includes experiences that we encounter when we search for the meaning of things. Whatever expands your field of activity or the scope of your mind, long journeys, contact with other cultures, great dreams, and even experiences with fortune tellers or astrologers or psychics or tarot readers, etc., etc. So basically, the way that I understand this, the third house represents left brain, intellectual learning. The ninth house represents right brain, experiential wisdom, okay? Wisdom is different than knowledge. Wisdom is when you take what you've learned intellectually and you make it an experience in your world. So you embody the information. The 10th house is my favorite house. The 10th house is the house of status, honor, community, power, prestige, reputation, and professional career. In our society, this includes financial success, but only as it relates to the community, power, and prestige. It's not about gaining material stuff as it is in the second house. The 10th house wants success for the sake of honor and social status. This house includes social foundations as opposed to personal home foundations in the fourth. Recognition, personal achievements, social responsibilities, sense of duty, authority figures, politicians. This house encompasses the most public area of one's life and the career that you grow into, as opposed to daily work and odd jobs ruled by the sixth house. As with the fourth house, astrologers are divided over whether the 10th house rules one's mother or father. Those that say the fourth house rules the mother say the 10th house rules the father, and vice versa. What is clear is that the fourth house rules the nurturing, homebody parent, while the 10th house rules the public, success-focused parent, the parent who wears the pants. As with the other angular houses, any planets in this house are very important. Planets in the 10th house, the sign on the cusp of the 10th house, and its ruling planet will greatly influence your career and your general reputation in public. Okay, definitely look at what planets you have. I have my moon in the 10th house, right? So the moon is, I am emotionally connected to what I create. That's why I'm so passionate, but it took me a long time. I had to master my emotions before I got to this place to be able to bring this to you. The 11th house. The 11th house is the house of community, large groups and friends. It refers to memberships, hopes, goals, ambitions, wishes, social groups, associations, humanitarian interests. It also refers to the self-realization, liberty, legislation, and regulation. Okay, this is all about how, like, say we want to build a community, an opportunity community, right? The bigger it gets, we have to move from the 10th house, from making it a reality, to the 11th house, making it worldwide. Okay, so as the bigger it gets, you need a board of directors, you need to create rules and regulations so that people can navigate it and people can function within that experience. Okay, so each house sort of builds on the previous one. The 12th house, this is probably the most misunderstood house of all. The 12th house refers to the subconscious or unconscious, the hidden self that exists apart from our physical everyday reality. This includes the unconscious mind, subconscious memory, subconscious habit patterns from the past, mental illness, karmic debts, self-deception, escapism, spiritual realization, limitation, frustration, and ultimately our self-undoing. On a physical material level, the 12th house includes things that take us away from everyday life, institutions such as hospitals, prisons, government, offices, etc., places of confinement, secrets, secret relationships, hidden enemies, and self-sacrifice for others. It also refers to sorrow, tribulations, widowhood, grief, funerals, exile, seclusion, bribery, subversion, murder, suicide, kidnapping, and endings. For those who believe, the 12th house is also considered to refer to the collective unconscious of all humanity. So when you have planets in the 12th house, you are connected to the sort of darkness of everything. Now, that might sound like it really sucks, but here's the thing. Some of the most powerful healers, some of the most powerful psychics I know have significant planets in the 12th house. This is a very important house to understand, especially with aspects that go to other houses, because when you have this, when you will be required by the universe, by life, to master yourself. It's sort of like you're all or nothing. And when you do master yourself, you are one powerful mofo. So look at your chart, see if you have any planets in the 12th house, and that'll definitely help you understand yourself at a much deeper level if you do, because most people, they don't understand a big part of themselves. If they have planets in the 12th house, they usually cut it off when they're children at some point, and then it comes back in midlife to sort of haunt you, because say, hey, this is your gift. This is what you're meant to do with your life. And usually any planets in the 12th house will push you to use that power, that force in your life, you know, hopefully for good. All right. So here's a little overview of the houses and the keywords to these houses. All right. I don't want you to get this. Remember, this is a very broad, fundamental understanding, all right, of just these separate houses. You have to understand them individually in order to be able to bring them together to mix the energies. So look at your chart and see where the dominant energies are in your life, and you'll begin to paint a clearer picture of really who you are. Okay, now we're going to go into the zodiac signs. All right, zodiac signs. Let's go. So, of course, We have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. The Saturn was the last planet that we were able to see in the sky until we had technology to be able to see the outer planets. So it's interesting that those outer planets are more multi-dimensional, right? They take on a bit of a different energetic form. So zodiac signs: Aries is pioneering, innovative, direct, and sharp, strong, lacking perseverance. I don't know if I'd say that, but Aries is the warrior, wants to get out there, wants to make shit happen, right? It's very ambitious, but can run right into a brick wall, okay? Taurus is slow, steady, stubborn, immovable, a builder, and develops naturally. Taurus is also usually beautiful, okay? Gemini is flexible and adaptable, likes to play with ideas, witty, quick reflexes. I like to think of it as like the happy and sad clown face, right? Cancer, sentimental, nostalgic, soulful, and extremely personal, is definitely family oriented. Cancer typically has like a hard outer shell. They don't really show their feelings, even though they're ruled by their feelings. But when you get past that hard outer shell, they're super emotional and super intuitive and super empathic. Okay, Leo is proud, magnanimous, needs affection and support, entertaining and flamboyant, most definitely, but sometimes shy and self-conscious. Leo can be very arrogant, or it can be a great leader. Okay, and the way I think of Leo, because ruled by the sun, it's also like your heart, right? It's heart-centered energy. Virgo is very neat, clean, fastidious, fussy, perfectionist, picky, refined, demanding, helpful, may hurt others' feelings by being critical. Virgos are very critical, but they're just very blunt, straight to the point, right? Libras represent friendship, equality, sharing, the needs of others and self, balance, partnerships, and they're usually a team player, right? Scorpio is intense, introverted, magnetic, charismatic, jealous, and mechanical. Sagittarius is expansive, fun-loving, likes to travel, dislikes details, big ideas, interests in topics of a broad nature, politics, economics, education, public communication, and media. Sagittarius definitely is like, boom, let's get out there, let's make it happen, let's go, right? Capricorn is mature, detached, strategic, manipulative, formal and business oriented, good planner and organizer. Now, manipulative, manipulation usually has a negative connotation to it, but manipulation can be a good or a bad thing, right? When you're helping someone, you are manipulating them into seeing, a different perspective. I don't really know if manipulation is the right word there, but you get what I'm saying, right? Capricorns are the quintessential leader. Aquarius, progressive, modern, eccentric, free-spirited, group-oriented, friendly but cool and unsentimental. Aquarius is the one that can see something or see like a system, point out all the problems with it, and if it's in its highest expression, can create a new process that makes it better, right? So Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Aquarius identifies the issues and it's in ultimate form will help you to create the most optimal version of whatever it is that you're trying to create, right? I'm an Aquarius moon. Pisces, imaginative, idealistic, artistic, sacrificing, impressionable, gullible, can be prone to daydreaming and enjoys fantasy. Sometimes Pisces lives in their own little world, does their own little thing. They float around. They're very floaty. Floaty is the word I like to use. Yeah, they're floaty. So we're gonna go over the different, now this information here, the different industries and aspects of these planets. A lot of this information is not gonna be in relationship to like reading someone's chart. However, it will help you understand and identify very specific things if you're doing a reading for some other aspects, or if you're doing your reading to see what things you're drawn to. Like say, for example, if you have heavy Aries energy, then chances are you're going to be drawn to the military or to do construction or physical fitness, right? I'm an Aries rising. I was in the military. I used to do construction when I was younger. I was a competitive bodybuilder, right? So this is where we can understand the dynamics of what we're drawn to. Okay, entrepreneurial or pioneering companies. Look at that too. Hey, this right here, what we're doing. Construction companies, military, weapons and ammunition, survival companies, physical fitness, gym and equipment, outward bound training companies. Okay, like going out and making shit happen. Mechanical and thermal engineering companies, furnaces and heating systems, vision care industry, eyeglasses and all that eye stuff. Ophthalmologists. Try saying that 5 times fast. Tourist industries, banks, credit unions, savings and loans, investment firms. Luxury items such as jewelry and furs. A lot of tourists I know love their luxury stuff. Designer name products, sensuous and beauty products, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? So Venus is all about beauty and about, like, you know, those shiny things. Sensuous and beauty products such as cosmetics, aromatherapy, perfumes, special soaps, candles, comfort products, massage, beauty salons, and other body care services, florist and flower industry, currency exchange, and coins. So think about, let's say you have Taurus as your 10th house, right? If you have your sun in Taurus in the 10th house, then your 10th house is your life purpose. Taurus represents all these different aspects, and your sun is who you are. So your life you're gonna be flashy, right? You're gonna be all about, you know, those luxury items, making money, making shit happen. All right. You're gonna be all about the physical body, all right, like body care, you know, stuff like that. You could create like a body care service, or, you know, get your mind rolling like that. And now you start to see how these things start to come together. Gemini industries, telecommunication companies, telemarketing and direct mail companies, taxi cabs, shuttles, buses, ferries, and shipping services, automotive manufacturers, dealers, rentals, parts, etc. Information and news services, newspapers, printing companies, like marketing and advertising, distribution companies and their industries, book retailers and distributors, newsstands, office supplies, transcription services and messenger services, educational products for children, private children's schools. So a lot of education, a lot of cerebral activity, a lot of disseminating of information here, and a lot of movement stuff. Lost my train of thought there for a second. Okay. Cancer energies, agriculture and food industries, producers, retailers, restaurants, coffee stands, bakeries, catering, real estate industry, hotel industry, apartments, rooming houses, campgrounds, home furnishings and repair industries, including hardware stores and their products, plumbing industry, commodities, trades on market, maternity products, obstetricians and birthing services. All right. It's all motherly stuff. Nursing homes and caretaking companies, boating industry and gardening industry. You see, this all very homey stuff. Leo industries, entertainment industries. Leo is entertainment, okay? Cinemas, theaters, comedy clubs, dance clubs, amusement and theme parks, electronic gaming, gambling establishment, casinos, racetracks, recreational industries, sports and sporting goods, golf courses and resorts, management consultants and companies, children's products and clothing, dating and matchmaking services, of course, and toys for all ages. Leo is all about having fun, getting out there and making it happen, right? Virgo industry, computer and software industries, including repair, system analysis companies, system analyst companies, pets, pet care and veterinarian industries. You know, it's funny, I think every Virgo I know has a pet. Healthcare industry, diet, nutritional supplements, housekeeping and custodial companies, data processing companies, scientific engineering and equipment companies, technical companies, clothing retail industry, and tailors dry cleaning companies. So you're getting the feel for all these things, right? We have Libra industries, fashion industry artists, art dealers and art galleries, interior decoration companies, mediation and arbitration companies. All right. This balancing of the scales, right? Helping two things come together that couldn't come together before. mediation, and arbitration, law offices, marriage and relationship counselors, landscaping. And landscaping can be Taurus too, because Taurus is about the earth, right? And Libra and Taurus are both ruled by who? Venus, all right? Appraisal companies, all right? Value is all about value, okay? Scorpio industries, insurance industry, funeral industry, tax accountants and representatives, waste management industry, environmental resource renewal companies, nuclear fuel and power plant industries, psychological and sex therapists, mental health clinics, energetic and shamanic healing, prostitution, mafia, underworld companies. This is all the underground stuff, the stuff that a lot of people just try to turn an eye away from, the things that people don't want to see or know about or experience or deal with. Okay, that's Scorpio. It's that deep stuff. Sagittarius is the publishing industry, advertising and marketing firms, travel industry, but not the airlines or train companies, professional sports, universities, colleges, and higher educational facilities, international trading companies, import-export industry, religious and philosophical training organizations, foundations and charities, so like churches and things like that. So you see, are you coordinating the feel with and the energies with the signs and with the houses? Because Sagittarius, of course, rules ninth house, right? Ninth house represents all this kind of stuff too, okay? But a lot of times the houses are not in the signs that they rule, okay? So you have to blend these energies together. Capricorn industries, government services and organizations, services and products for the elderly, minerals and mining companies, diamond companies, museums, masonry and lumber industries, professional services companies, professional organizers. Man, my tongue's getting twisted. Political campaign offices, time industries, watches, clocks, calendars. You know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn represents karma, time and space. Okay, so all these things sort of represent the structures, like the scaffolding of our world and time, space and time. Aquarius industries, broadcasting industry, aviation, airline and train industries, internet and .com companies, the internet, okay? Metaphysical or consciousness raising companies, astrology, what's up? Labor unions, utilities. Aquarius, we are going into the Aquarius age, okay? So these industries are going to be booming, all right? We look at the internet, the .com, the 5G, all this stuff is starting. They're like the Mongols of this era, right? And metaphysical and consciousness raising, astrology, this stuff is getting massive, and we're going into the age of this stuff. So watch out for this stuff, guys, because this is what's going to start to be leading the way for how people interact, for how people live their lives, really. All right, learn, interact, get around. It ain't going anywhere, right? Now, Pisces, overseas shipping and maritime industries, oil and natural gas industries, pharmaceutical industry, alcoholic beverages, photography, film and movie industry, hospitals, spiritual or inspirational companies, and illegal drugs. Now, it's interesting. We are moving away from the age of Pisces, right? Look at this. Look at this list. Oil and gas industries have dominated the age of Pisces. All right. Photography, film, movies have dominated the last couple hundred years. All right. And spiritual or inspirational companies still going, but it's going into a more Aquarian type of a consciousness aspect as opposed to a spiritual aspect. And well, drugs that are illegal, well, you know, there's a lot of changes going on with that too. So you see, we're shifting from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius in every way, form, and fashion. Now we move on to the planets. So we have, these are the fundamentals, okay? We have the sun, which is the basic self. It's appearance, stance in life. It's who you are. To me, it's your spirit, all right? It's who you are, all right? The moon is your moods, your home, your domestic nature, your nurturing qualities. It's your emotions. The moon equals your emotional body. Mercury is your communication. It's your speech, writing, conscious thought, and logic. Venus represents your aesthetics, your art, your beauty, the way you show affection and love, whether you reconcile. And it's also your relationship to money as well. Mars. And Venus represents your divine feminine nature as well. And Mars represents your divine masculine. Mars is ambition, drive, energy, aggressive nature, severe, it's intense, it's extroverted, it's rawr. Jupiter is expansive. It expands whatever it touches. It's large, it's extravagant, it's happy. It brings whatever it touches into the microscope. It makes it huge. Okay? So Jupiter, and this can be huge in a good way or huge in a deep, dark way too. Remember that. Okay? Such is the case with like Jupiter conjunct Pluto. When Pluto is a very dark, Pluto is obsession, compulsiveness, fanaticism, sense of mission, emotionally driven, right? When you take Jupiter, when it expands whatever it touches and you're emotionally driven, if those emotions are negative, oh, fuck. You're going down a deep, dark rabbit hole of dark emotions that you don't want to go, and you're going to have to face that shit, okay? So Saturn. So, you know, this is actually a really good, a good spot to understand where in 2020, where all these aspects have been happening in Capricorn, because you really get to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are all in Capricorn right now, and this is changing the world forever. Okay, forever. Saturn is structure, discipline, concentration, severity, detachment. It separates like social distancing, maybe. I don't know. And remember, we had at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of 2020, we had Saturn conjunct Pluto. And right now we have Saturn sitting around in an orb, which is right near it. Okay, so the energies are still touching, they're still playing with each other. And Jupiter's around, it's expanding the energy of Saturn and Pluto of obsession, compulsiveness, fanaticism. This is purging and bringing out all these aspects of ourselves that need to go if we want to evolve to the age of Aquarius. So what is Uranus? Uranus is another big time player in this age as well as we go on into the next age. Uranus is unstable, it's eccentric, it's innovative, it's nonconformist, it's spontaneous, it's impulsive, it's undisciplined. Uranus likes to make change, likes to make shit happen, likes to be unpredictable. And there's a lot of unpredictability in the world today, okay? And Uranus is going to be making some aspects to those energies in Capricorn as we go through this next decade, all right? Now Neptune is imaginative, idealistic, dreamer, childish, artistic, fantasy, and receptive. Okay, this is where you can go into la la land, or you can activate psychic powers and psychic abilities. And it just matters how deep you want to go and how much ability you have to navigate these energies. Okay, so we have the sun. The sun is who we are in our chart. All right, I am. The best quality is our rulership. Worst quality is dictativeness. Okay. It like tries to dictate what's going on. And so it's almost like a control dynamic. The sun represents your ego. Now, I should have changed that. The sun represents your spirit. Okay, your ascendant represents your ego. The inner you, your essence. The unchanging part of you. And the ego is not unchanging. So that is not accurate, but some people would say, you know, the latter. So you are able to, you know, this is all subjective, okay? So the inner you, whoever you believe you are, your spirit, okay? I'm giving you all the information because I want you to be able to choose what you believe, all right? So the inner you, the essence, the unchanging part of you is your spirit, okay? The calm, steady, deep, and lasting force felt within you. The enabling you to exert willpower, make decisions, and direct all other parts of your life. This is your inspiration to live life. The sun represents your will. It is, and its sign determines the dynamic expression of the will. which is carried out through the activity of the other planets in the horoscope. Remember, the sun sign is just the start of your portrait. Think of your horoscope as a painting of you. The characteristics of your sun sign are the first broad strokes that the artist first lays down on the canvas. The artist outlines your general shape, the planets and angles of your face, the way in which you hold your body. In the same way, your sun sign delineates your fundamental character, your core. Are you introspective? Do you make friends easily? Are you pompous or plain, generous or greedy? How do you cope with responsibility? Are you high-strung or easygoing? The answer may be found in a study of your sun's position by sign and house and any aspect of it. The sun can represent the company, the top management, the product, service. So you can do a chart for a business you start. You can do a chart for an idea, like when an idea launched in your mind. You can do a chart on anything. Okay, wherever the sun is, that is the heart of that idea, thing, place, person, whatever. Okay, this is all esoteric. This is all metaphysical energies, right? I want you to understand that this is the centerpiece of the energy, the I am. Like I did the astrology of my business, right? I wanted to make sure it was going to be successful, so I made sure I did it in a particular time frame so that it would grow and blossom. Because I've seen other people when they're building businesses or creating things, and they're doing it in time, say like a Mars retrograde, or like a certain a certain celestial aspect or time, where it's not good, and those businesses fail. No good. You got to be careful. Okay, the moon is what we feel. All right, the best quality is it's adaptable. Worst quality is it's inconstancy. The moon is as important as the sun in your natal chart. The sun sign is part of you that is apparent to others. It is what others see. The moon sign is part of you that you see. The moon represents your emotional nature and instinctive reactions, emotional responses based on past experiences and unconscious habit patterns that you have developed. It comprises all the little surface peculiarities, moods, and changes that have to do with physical life, which are disturbing, fleeting, and changing. It describes the way you behave and that you immediately regretted and thought, that's not like me. Or, fuck, I should have said no when I said yes. It may have been your moon sign qualities at work, okay? It's like your intuition usually works through here. The sign that the moon is in shows what makes you feel emotionally nurtured, secure, and satisfied. Because emotions run so deep, the moon sign represents your greatest need. It also shows how you nurture others. Most of the time, your moon sign will only be apparent to those who live with you or people that are very close to you. In many ways, your moon personality is the one you keep hidden. It is your inner core, which feels hate, jealousy, fear, and has fantasies that you often deny even to yourself. On the other hand, it is your moon personality that spontaneously feels and expresses joy and pleasure. It is the part of you that enjoys the little sensualities of life. The moon in your horoscope modifies your sun sign. It brings new force, different motivations, and spiritual elements to the character of your sun sign. For example, a Gemini sun person with moon in Taurus will be more dependable than a Gemini sun with the moon in Aquarius. Here is another reason why we cannot define a person simply by their sun sign. The moon is also a symbol of fertility and femininity. It's sign comfortable within. Although the Venus sign indicates a male's romantic, erotic preferences and partners, the moon sign indicates the type of woman he would choose as a lifelong mate, because the moon needs are stronger than the Venus wants. The moon is constantly waxing and waning, from new moon to full moon and back. The house position of the moon in your natal chart shows the area of life where you tend to be the most emotional and where you often experience changing conditions. The house of the moon also gives clues to the type of activity that occurs on the domestic scene. The moon is probably the most significant aspect, in my opinion, that influences your life, okay? Because this is where the subconscious meets the conscious, and this is where we need to learn to be the conscious observer of our own consciousness so that we don't react to these particular habits and patterns that we have that are subconscious. Okay, so the moon is really important to learn, and there are many layers of the moon to learn, whether you're super impulsive or introverted, whether you are apprehensive about speaking out or speak out too fast. Okay, all these different areas of how your emotions function is the study of the moon. So really pay attention to your moon sign. I have a moon in Aquarius, and it took me, and once I started learning and understanding the energy of Aquarius, I really started to understand myself at a much deeper level. Okay, so now we have Mercury. Mercury is our communication, right? I think. Best quality is expression. The worst quality is its restlessness. Mercury is the planet of intelligence and communication. It governs our rational and intellectual faculties, perception and reason, memory, speaking, and writing. Mercury reflects your capacity to collect, sort, and communicate the knowledge you gain through your experiences and your senses. It reflects the way you see, hear, understand, and assimilate information. Mercury is symbolic of that childlike curiosity that drives your urge to know and the ability to analyze and reason. Mercury also has to do with transportation and short trips and the nervous system. The positive manifestation of Mercury includes clever speech, eloquence, persuasiveness, success with public speaking, and a sharp, quick mind. The more negative manifestations include restlessness, a tendency to be a critic, sarcastic, argumentative, and sly. The quick wit of Mercury can quickly turn into trickery. Lies, deceit, fraud, swindling, and forgery are examples of Mercury's negative power. The sign of Mercury in your natal chart shows your style and preference of communicating and learning. A strong Mercury in one's chart, free of any negative aspects, indicates a brilliant mind. Okay, this is the way we think. So if we tend to embody these more negative aspects, we need to really put ourselves in check, because Saturn, the Lord of Karma, will come around and put that shit in check real quick. Okay. Now, we have Venus. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Worst qualities: pliancy, bending too easily, taking the easy way out, or even letting other people take advantage. Venus is the planet of love, pleasure, and beauty. It represents your capacity to express affection and to enjoy beauty. This includes your capacity to attract and appreciate the things of the world, whether they are emotional, physical, material, mental, or spiritual things. It defines the type of people you draw to yourself based on your social values. Things ruled by Venus include what kind of sex appeal you possess, love affairs, the arts, beauty and beautiful things, adornment, affection, and social graces, harmony, and friendships. Being the planet of pleasure, it points to the kind of amusements you are drawn to and in what ways you spend your money. The position of Venus in your natal chart can answer such questions as: what kind of lovers do you attract? Are you flirtatious? Do you find happiness in your love affairs? Or are you often disappointed? Where does your creative talent lie? The sign of Venus gives important information about how you express yourself in personal relationships, especially in love and marriage. It also indicates your attitude towards money, personal possessions, creature comforts, and social and aesthetic values. Your Venus sign also reveals your idea of the perfect woman. In a male's chart, the Venus sign indicates the type of woman that attracts him. In a woman's chart, the Venus, okay, your Venus sign also reveals your idea of the perfect woman in a male's chart. The Venus sign indicates the type of woman that attracts him. In a woman's chart, the Venus sign indicates the qualities that she uses to attract lovers. Sorry about that. The house position of Venus, you are most likely to find an artistic outlet. Venus never travels far from the sun. In your horoscope, it is always either in your sun sign or in one of the two signs immediately preceding or following the sun sign. A well-aspected Venus bestows charm, diplomacy, and tact. Some negative manifestations of Venus are self-indulgency, jealousy, envy, lust, and of course, unfaithfulness. So we You know, you always know the people that have good aspects of Venus just by seeing what their life is like. And people that have, like, I have a difficult as I have my Venus conjunct Uranus, and that one is a little bit tough because Uranus is unexpected, right? It changes, it's changeable, and it's in Scorpio. So Scorpio is that, you know, underneath, like, it's hot, steamy, it's sexy, but it's unpredictable. Yeah. So Mars is I act. Best qualities is Mars takes initiative. Worst qualities, Mars is harsh. Mars is the exact opposite of Venus. Mars is the divine masculine. Venus is the divine feminine. Whereas Venus represents the female, Mars is all male. Whereas Venus is all harmony, Mars is conflict, aggression, and outright war. Mars is the planet of physical energy. It governs your sex drive, your forcefulness, and your aggression. It is associated with your desires and your aspirations for emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual things that stimulate activity. You have to want something before you reach out and take it. Mars is the heated passion behind actions. Mars shows your ability to turn ideas into action. The sign of Mars in your natal chart indicates your vitality, energy level, and style of action. In a female's chart, the Mars sign is one factor suggesting the type of man she attracts. So in a man's chart, the Venus will show what kind of woman the man attracts, and the female's chart, the Mars will show what kind of man the female attracts. Okay, Mars represents your unleashed energy and your human will, your initiative. A controlled Mars can give a healthy dose of assertiveness and ambition. At its worst, Mars energy makes one prone to anger, harshness, and destructive violence, impulsive behavior, danger, combativeness, and every kind of cruelty. It's up to you to use this force constructively. This is a very important energy to have control over, because if it controls you, it will wreak havoc in your life. All right, Jupiter. Or as my friend Maru would say, Jupiter. I grow. Best quality, benevolence. Benevolence. Man, I am having a rough time with vocabulary today. Kindness, okay? Worst quality, conceit. Jupiter is a planet of good luck, optimism, success, and generosity. Jupiter brings joy to life. Think expansiveness and abundance. As Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter signifies knowledge, higher learning, breadth of vision, confidence, charity, and goodwill, frankness, and honesty. Jupiter's knowledge is on a philosophical level, as opposed to Mercury's day-to-day cleverness. It is in the broad view of the higher mind. Psychologically, Jupiter is the search for meaning of truth. As such, it represents law and justice, philosophy, religion, metaphysics, and education. Jupiter encompasses the urge for self-improvement through participation in the larger whole. It urges you to go forth exploring life. Jupiter's sign indicates what you idealize, what your ethical, religious, and philosophical standards are. The sign also indicates where you express expansiveness, where you do things on a large scale. Jupiter in your chart shows where you are likely to receive financial and material benefit, and in turn, where you express generosity to others. The house of Jupiter is where we tend to be optimistic, and the affairs of that house usually flow easily. Jupiter's qualities include benevolence, kindness, wisdom, morality, and spirituality. If negatively placed in the chart, Jupiter's energy can be manifested as self-righteousness, excessiveness, squandering, exaggeration, overindulgence, superficiality, and bigotry. However, even when negatively positioned, Jupiter is protective and beneficial. Overindulgence and excess often lead to learning the lesson of restraint. Even with a negatively aspected Jupiter, a person will tend to land on their feet when problems arise in the areas signified by Jupiter's house. And this is very important to understand, especially if you have Jupiter conjunct another planet like Pluto or Saturn. Because Pluto expands that, it also expands our ability to learn the lesson. It also expands the depth. So say you have Jupiter conjunct Pluto, well, you are going to be able to see right through everybody's bullshit, okay? But you feeling things so deep that you're going to have to learn to control that, because most people will never understand the length or the divide or the polarity of separation of emotions that you actually feel, okay? Saturn, I achieve. Best quality, system and organization. Worst quality, selfishness. Astrologers of the past regard Saturn as evil and malignant, indicating dire misfortune and misery wherever it was found in the chart. When Venus wishes for love, Saturn denies her. When Jupiter promises good fortune, Saturn delays it. When Mercury brings good news, Saturn degrades it. And when Mars goes too hard or too fast, Saturn will crash him. But this is not necessarily bad. Saturn is associated with the principles of limitation, restrictions, boundaries, safety, practicality, reality, seriousness, and structures. Saturn is the laws, boundaries, and limits set by society or karma. Modern astrologers acknowledge that the hardships brought on by Saturn's limitations compel one to continue striving for a final product that, although delayed, will be solid and of real worth. Saturn governs ambition, career, authority, hierarchy, and conforming social structures. It concerns a person's sense of duty, discipline, and responsibility, and their physical and emotional endurance during hardships. Saturn is morose and cold, melancholic and serious. By placement in your chart, it indicates the area of life in which you may feel shame for a time. This is the area where you have lessons to learn. But this is where your disciplined hard work will lead to genuinely earned, long-lasting success. At its best, Saturn endows organization and order. At its worst, Saturn's energy is manifested as selfishness. The sign of Saturn also gives clues to the kind of work for which a person is suited and the kind of career he is likely to pursue. So Saturn represents, it's sort of like your constant reality check. Okay, and a major significant part of someone's life is their Saturn return, all right, which we'll go much deeper into when we go into the level 3 workshop, okay? But understanding the energies of Saturn, so Jupiter with Saturn, right, it said here, when Jupiter promises good fortune, Saturn delays it. Now, you're still going to get good fortune, but maybe you have to learn some lessons, because maybe if you got the fortune too fast, you blow it all, or, you know, do too many drugs and kill yourself, right? So we have to be careful, and Saturn is the reality checker. So, and this is all based perspective too, right? We have to put this all into perspective to make. And so I don't want you guys to think that there's an evil aspect here. This is just like the regulating energy in the universe, and the regulating energy in the universe is very powerful right now because Saturn's home sign is Capricorn. It rules Capricorn. Okay, so now we have Uranus and Uranus is where we're going to next in our evolution of humanity. And Uranus is all about I evolve, best quality, originality, worst quality, rebellion. This is very, very apropos for what's going on right now in the world. And yeah, Uranus represents the unconscious urges to become aware of your true inner individuality, the sun. Like a lightning bolt, Uranus symbolizes sudden flashes of insight, moments of revelation, and spurs of creativity. Uranus's energy is usually described as suddenness, revolution, change, shock, and disruption. Like lightning, Uranus breaks into time and fractures our patterns. New ideas break into ordinary streams of thought, bring innovative solutions to stubborn problems. It is your intuition awakening you to a world beyond our social structures. Uranus forces sudden changes when the usefulness of the old is gone and something newer, something higher and better is ready to take its place. Uranus encompasses technology and all types of electronic devices. Uranus speeds up the mind, making it to bypass logic and arrives at conclusions by leaping from A to Z, shocking people. Uranus seeks alternatives to the common and accepted forms. True to itself, the planet Uranus stands out from the rest of the planets by orbiting around on its side. The rest of the planets orbit like a spinning top, but Uranus insists on rolling on its side like a ball. At best, Uranus encourages originality, versatility, and independence. At worst, it encourages eccentricity, perversion, and rebellion. Uranus demands freedom. And that is what we are going into right now. We are into 2021 and 2022. We will be in the first quarter square of Saturn and Uranus. Okay, So these energies are battling it out between structure and evolution, right? Uranus will win because we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, okay? So get ready, guys, because these guys, they ain't messing around. Neptune is I dream, okay? Best quality is idealism. Worst quality is vagueness. Neptune represents the unconscious urges to dissolve the boundaries of your ego-centeredness in order to lose yourself in other realms of being. While Uranus breaks into our dimension to allow momentary flashes of insight into other realms of existence, Neptune is those other realms. Neptune dissolves life's patterns in order to teach new meaning in the quest for universal wisdom. Neptune represents things that aren't quite as they appear, the elusive and the unreal. It is the planet of receptivity, imagination, cloudiness, confusion, delusion, illusion, and unreality. Neptune is also associated with movies, acting, and compassion. Neptune can indicate mystical visions of a divine creator or an experience of the primordial chaos before creation. Dangerously, the latter can drive one to madness. Neptune can indicate spiritual healing and service to others, or becoming lost in a foggy world of fantasy and dreams. More often than not, Neptune indicates confusion in the house where it resides in your birth chart. A natally positioned Neptune in the natal chart can indicate a tendency to escape reality. The house and sign will indicate whether it be through mind-altering drugs and alcohol, daydreaming, sexual addiction, cult worship, psychosis, potential suicide, or others. At its best, Neptune's energy inspires marvelous art, music, theater, dance, poetry, and film. Above all, Neptune represents the intangible and makes it very real. Neptune is basically the exact opposite of Saturn, where Saturn is structure and constriction. Neptune is formless. Neptune is everywhere and everything. It's intangible. It's all that is. Through our Neptunian energy, if you have it in one of the psychic houses, this is where you can identify, and as well through aspects too, where you can identify your psychic abilities and capacities. And now we have Pluto. Pluto is all about I empower. Best quality is transformation. Worst quality is inversion, turning things upside down. And boy, let me tell you, Pluto can turn things upside down, okay? Pluto represents the unconscious urge to transform repressed ego-desired energies into group-desired energies in order to live out your role in society's evolution. Pluto represents sexuality, the act itself, as opposed to the energetic desire, which is associated with Mars. Obsessive desires, transformation, power, and the ingredients of great wealth. Investments, banking, loans, debt, mortgages. Pluto has dominion over drastic changes that bring true upheavals, like we're seeing in the world today. Since Pluto is the slowest moving planet, an entire generation will share the same Pluto sign, giving it historical importance. This is why I break up generations into Pluto signs, okay? Let's see. Drastic and permanent changes in civilizations as a whole can be linked to Pluto's movement through the signs. On a personal level, the house that Pluto occupies in your chart will show how Plutonian energy is manifesting in your life. Pluto will transform those things in your life that require regeneration, whether you desire it or not. You may experience dramatic crises or have to endure terrible suffering where Pluto is involved in your chart. But for the purpose of healing, Pluto tears down only to transform and regenerate what has been destroyed. Pluto is associated with recklessness, mental obsession and compulsion, emotional resistance, and overall transcendence. It is also associated with unsolved mysteries, secrets, and taboos. Pluto is the most intense and difficult, yet most powerful and evolving energy in astrology. This is, we see all this stuff coming up with like the cabal, with the deep state, with all this child sex trafficking. This is all Plutonian energy. And this is where the Saturn and Pluto conjunction, bringing all this stuff up to the surface to be purified, okay? To evolve us. So actually Pluto, Saturn, and Uranus are all working together to evolve us as a species. It's very important to understand, because when we see things like this, we see where the generations are going. We can put astrology into predicting world events, predicting where different countries are. Like, you know, the United States has a has a birth chart. You know, when the when the Constitution was signed, and we're actually coming into our Pluto return, first Pluto return ever in recorded history. And as you can see, Pluto turns things upside down and transforms it. So we are transforming this country and, in essence, the world into a whole new world. So here is the layout of the planets and how quickly they move. We have the sun that moves about 1 degree. This is where our calendar comes from, okay? It's roughly 1 degree. So it travels through entire zodiac in 1 year. The moon is 13.5 degrees a day. It's about 2.25 days traveling zodiac sign, and through the entire year is 27 and 28. We have Mercury, which travels about 1 degree a day. Lately, it's been speeding up, though, to more like 2 degrees a day. Usually about 1 month through each zodiac sign, and 1 year through the entire zodiac. Venus is about the same. Mars is a little bit slower at about 0.5 degree, and travels through each zodiac sign in about 2 months. And it travels through the entire zodiac in a little less than 2 years. And Venus and Mars also, too, the only two that go retrograde only every 2 years. Jupiter is about 5 minutes a day. It travels through 1 sign a year. It takes about 12 years for that to go through the whole zodiac. Uranus is about 1 degree a day, 7 years to travel through 1 sign, and 84 years to travel through the whole zodiac. And then we have Neptune, which is less than 1 minute, 14 years to travel through 1 sign, and 165 years to travel through the entire zodiac. And then finally Pluto, with his less than 1 minute, 21 years to travel through 1 sign, and 248 years to travel through the entire zodiac. So there you have it, guys. Level 1, planets, signs, and everything that has to do with them. Now we're going to go ahead and get into some deeper stuff, where we're going to explore the aspects and looking at the energetic interactions between these planets and houses, and seeing how those are represented in your birth chart. So if you're going to level 2, please follow me there now. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper and learning your consciousness and finding out exactly where things line up. And I hope so far you're connecting some dots. Things are making sense. You're starting to get excited. You're starting to figure out your consciousness, and you're making some sense out of your life, because we're going to keep going, baby. We're going to dig a lot deeper. I love you, and I'll see you on level 2. Let's go.